Kindergartens, primary and secondary schools and universities are in revolt against a massive program of cuts, the so-called Gelmini reforms. Tens of thousands of children, youngsters and parents are occupying their schools and universities, protesting and demonstrating all around the country. Critics say the reform presented by Education Minister Maria Stella Gelmini is just a fancy label to hide the fact Silvio Berlusconi wants to slash spending in the public sector. So he's decided to make drastic cuts in Italy's school system, meaning 80,000 teachers and 43,000 non-teaching staff will lose their jobs. The protests against the cuts are supported by a cross-section of Italian society, including parents, university professors, teachers and students.
I'm trying to do my best to help our country understand what they're doing wrong for our children. They cut funds for school, they cut their future.
We will lose the ability as parents to have full-time school for our children. There will be part of the day which is guaranteed, and the rest is perhaps eventually, and we suspect paying additionally to have the child staying, full-time.
This will force many parents to make an unpalatable choice: to give up full-time work, mostly the mothers, to employ a babysitter, or, if the family can afford it, send the children to private, often Catholic schools. On an ordinary autumn morning, young children start another day at the Cirto Sacchetti Elementary School in Orte, a small town north of Rome. Teachers and pupils here resemble those one could find in any other Italian school. This fourth grade class is working on a math exercise. The pupils have been divided into groups, and each group has been assigned a different problem to solve. Currently, 3 teachers share 2 classes.
It is better to have more than one teacher because there are so many subjects to teach to the pupils that, of course, we can't teach them all. One person can't teach them all.
The 2 teachers were specialized, one for, humanistics, literature, and the other on sciences. So this is the first thing. The second is the teacher were a team, so they had to work together in order to have the best results. Third, there is a system where the different teachers of different classes do things together and prepare also for additional activities. In one word, the kids were enormously stimulated.
Later, the same children change classrooms to learn how to use computers. Another specialized teacher, who works with all classes, explains how to prepare simple computer graphics and presents the assignment of the day. The children are asked to design a chart explaining the mechanism of the water cycle. This way, in addition to learning computer graphics, the pupils learn fundamental geological and biological concepts. In a nearby classroom, other 4th graders are learning English. Starting next year,
one teacher will practically have to do everything. Practically, we will lose, first, an assurance on full-time. Secondly, the quality of teaching will be reduced because we are in different time. I myself had just one teacher, but we stayed just 4 hours, maximum 5 hours at school. And modern times are much more complex than, 40 years ago. And third, all the additional elements that were facilitators for children who were immigrants or who were difficult, will be lost. And this means that a number of children will not be properly integrated in Italian society. So we can unfortunately risk a racial revolt in some 10 years. Secondly, a number of children which have psychological problems will be simply excluded from the schooling system or, getting back to old times, set in special classes, which are unfortunately less productive than mixed classes as today.
The government plan also includes clear racist policies like the ones supported by the Northern League, establishing separate classes for the children of immigrants. The excuse for an apartheid-like system is that it makes it easier for the immigrants to learn Italian. On the contrary, critics and teachers say foreign kids learn Italian faster if they stay with the Italian kids.
In the beginning, of course, there is a problem for the kid because he doesn't really understand everything, but in about 2 or 3 months at the most, you know, he can start speaking fluent without any big problem.
First of all, immigrant children learn much better the Italian language when they are mixed with Italians than segregated in special classes. This has been proven by 15 years of experience. And secondly, there is a sort of racist undertone, a sort of exclusion, which, well, isn't very much liked by a sizable part of the Italian society.
We are the future. We are Italy's future, is the students' chant. The global financial crisis makes it even harder for Italy to revive its stagnant economy.
The only way to overcome at least partly the problem is increase labor productivity, and the main vehicle to increase labor productivity is having a more educated workforce and having more scientific research done.
Clearly, this means investing more money and not less on education. Unless the government withdraws the budget cuts in education spending, Italy's future and the future of its children seems very bleak indeed. Wolf Achtner, Press TV, Orte.